loved the girls, how they looked when they walked in for the fittings. So we just moisturised skin, we've just covered blemishes, filled in eyebrows and brushed them, and then we've used a brown grease paint around the eye to enhance that natural discoloration, and lip balm. You know, it makes our job really easy when you're working with girls that look like this.
I wouldn't really say it's a look, actually. It's very, very simple this season. We wanted something very pure, just this idea of almost like nothing, almost like the girls have just walked in for the show and they look great as they are. I mean, there's a very strong reference with the clothes of like Asia and like a martial art. We didn't really want anything sort of too kind of theatrical with the hair. They wanted it just to be very real, very raw, and almost laundered feeling. So almost like just all about beautiful, pure girls.
We wanted to start with this idea of modes of protection. This theme sounded kind of interesting to us, and so we started researching different ways to kind of protect yourself, and then it kind of led us to these martial arts, these kind of very protective clothes, these clothes that are very wrappy or double-breasted or quilted and padded or samurai.
Fighting was another element, so it's protection or fighting back, which is like all that sporty samurai stuff, or escaping. Like,
yeah, travel as a form of kind of protection and escaping in that way.
Which are all things we sort of do at different parts of the season.
We like to get out of the city as often as possible.
We were just in the Himalayas and Mount Everest, Bhutan, and kind of a little bit in Asia.
So kind of starting with this theme, it led us to like a fabric direction. That was kind of the foundation of kind of putting this collection together. That and the silhouette. We knew we wanted something slouchy and oversized, a bit more drop-waisted, and the fabric, just this idea of texture, padding, different ways we could create fabrics that do that idea.
Well, I think they do a lot of things. I mean, I think obviously their fabric innovation is very unique, and I think what they do with it, I mean, could you imagine that was a fall show? I mean, that show, those clothes could be worn anywhere, anytime, and fresh and young and spirited, and I thought it was very special.
The boys always push technology. The weaving of the fabrics, the stiffness of the coat. You couldn't really tell what were the fabrications, but it is something, it looks like something very new that they've been working on. The same with that, which was beautiful, that dress. It was again, it had the Japanese motif, and the skirt was gold, but you couldn't really tell what kind of a knit or what kind of a fabrication that was.
I loved all the white, and you know, I think the boys were inspired by a lot of that samurai, that whole thing, the fencing and all of that, you know, but done in a way that really could be understandable. You know, I think they have a lot of energy and I think very sophisticated, and you know, their use of color and fabric is you know, exquisite.
My reaction was a major adrenaline rush, because it's a truly exciting, thoughtful show. I mean, new proportions presented in a very persuasive way, incredible use of ornamentation and textile, just a very, very powerful, interesting show, and you know, it's always so exciting to see what they come up with every season, but this was really particularly strong, emphatic show.
I'd say like 50% of the show is leather. We've never shown so much leather.
Yeah. We're not leathery sort of designers.
We're always interested in working with materials that we haven't really fully used before. When we were in Bhutan, we found all these baskets, all these different woven baskets And that kind of led us to the idea of doing this woven leather. So we started just putting swatches into work, and it came out kind of first degree in the beginning, and then so we developed it more and more until we ended up like mixing different colors in and metallics in, and pairing more exploded textures with kind of these softer, smaller scale textures. So, and then pairing them with like making leather t-shirts out of them, or dresses, jackets.
They developed some kind of sequin that you could thread leather through, kind of like a modern packer rabanne kind of thing. They did it in a totally different way, and it kind of, you know, mixed with a little bit of postmodern, and yeah, it was very fresh. It was, I mean, they took some very literal things like some of those Asian bird embroideries, but just used them in such a fresh, intriguing way.
The other trend that I was going to point out was the boots. It's all about the boots. It was all about the boots. I think there was only a few pair of shoes, but most of them were booties, flat boots, or knee-high boots.
Boots, flat boots. We're really into like kind of flat shoe somehow, like a hiking shoe.
Their designs are very fun and young, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do, and I love their shoes and their bags. I think they have it all kind of covered, and they're very talented.
It's all really treated. Like at the end, that was like really basic charmeuse, which is like really like simple silk, and then we like quilted it and batted it and made it into these like weird three-dimensional textures with the quilting motifs. And then we embroidered on top of that, mixed it with plastics and wove leather through them. So it's all just like processes on fabrics. We just like to challenge ourselves with new materials.